Well, coming up in this episode, man, our man GBush from the barbershop and the final cut comes out and he erupts on the Cleveland insiders and the Cleveland media for the double standard and the narrative that they keep pushing about Shedeur Sanders. And I've always said here on this channel that everything Shedeur Sanders does, they undermine it and they sweep it under the rug. Prime example, first start against the Raiders last year, he won the game, first rookie in Cleveland since 2016 as a rookie to win their first NFL start. They swept it under the rug. The same thing they did when he played against the Tennessee Titans and passed for over 360 yards, had 4 TDs, 3 in the air, 1 on the ground, and they swept it under the rug. And we got to talk about it coming up right after this.
Yeah. K-Sap in the building, let's go. Simply ball dropping podcast. Turn me up. Turn me up. K-Sap on the mic, we don't talk like sports talk heavy, every take got bite. Angel Reese on the glass, big boys, big smoke, double NBA heat, better wake up, folks. Wake up. Brown talk live, Shedeur in the frame, Coach Brown, Colorado, respect on the name. See you aunties in the chat, they gon' ride for the truth. K-Sap, bring the fire from the booth to the booth. Fire. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. Like, comment, subscribe. Come join the crew. Hush, bush, salute. See everybody in the comments too. Salute. Simply ball drop it. Simply ball drop it. Let's go.
Well, guys, man, GBush, he's had enough. And he's seen everything that we've seen because GBush has been out to the Cleveland Browns training camp. And he's watching everything with his own eyes. And we know what GBush does. GBush knows how to break everything down from his own lenses, not from what somebody is telling him. He's out there seeing it for himself. And the problem is that a bunch of these Cleveland media personnel, they don't even know what they're looking at. So they push this narrative and they use a double standard when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. Now, we did a show yesterday talking about Deshaun Watson, how he responded. 7 TDs, but they all was in the red zone. And then we also said we had a Dillon Gabriel sighting. Dillon Gabriel did well. And we acknowledge that. And this is the problem that GBush has. Because GBush went on record and he gives people credit where credit's due, and he acknowledges the fact that Deshaun Watson had a bounce back day yesterday. It was his best day of training camp. He also alluded to what Dillon Gabriel did. Gave him his props. And this is the problem that he has. When he gives kudos and props to the other quarterbacks, that same energy is not being reciprocated from the Cleveland media when Shedeur Sanders does well. They'll sweep it up under the rug. They'll do all this to undermine everything that Shedeur Sanders has accomplished. And it goes back to when I started this video off. And I told y'all about last year. I did plenty of videos when Shedeur Sanders was the first quarterback, a rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl era since Joe Burrows to throw for over 360 yards and have 3 touchdowns in the air, but Shedeur added 1 on the ground, so he had a total of 4 against the Tennessee Titans up against the #1 draft pick in Cam Ward. They undermined it. Everything Shedeur did not give Shedeur no credit for what he achieved. Same thing when he got his first NFL start against the Las Vegas Raiders and won that game. First quarterback in the Cleveland era since 2016 as a rookie to win an NFL starting game. They undermined that and swept it under the rug. Everything that Shedeur Sanders has done, they have swept it up under the rug. They don't give him credit. It's a double standard when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. So now GBush had to voice his opinion as he was headed out to day 8 of Cleveland Browns NFL training camp. But before we get off into that, man, y'all do me a favor, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe on the video. Now, GBush gave it to you raw and uncut. So let's take a listen to what GBush had to say as he takes a shot and he erupts on the Cleveland insiders and the Cleveland media. Take a listen.
Yeah, you know what? I just wanted to come on here real quick. I'm on my way to training camp, and I'll be out there covering the team and doing some things. And as always, I'll give you a little recap of what's going on, in the situation with the Browns training camp. But I wanted to just sit here really quickly and just really, say something I think needs to be said. Like, this is why I'm just starting to realize the media industry is just as corrupt and backwards than the music industry. Whether you're talking about politics, whether you talk about the music industry, like film, man, bro, it's so crooked that it's so wild to me. And I don't know why I'm getting on here saying this right now, but I just feel like it just needs to be said.
Facts.
The thing that I struggle with the most, and I just got to fully embrace it, like, we never going to see eye to eye. I am never going to see eye to eye with some of the people who do this job for a living with me, because we don't have the same principles. We don't come from the same thing. So I don't know why I keep having to realize to myself that these people is never going to be what you are. So you should cease to stop expecting somehow to come around to it, because it's not going to happen. And we all kind of knew that, but just going to practice and watching, it shows you something. This is an eye-opening situation. You go to practice, you see something with your eyes. And the reason I started going to practice is because I wanted to see the difference, not only see how the team is doing and get to a point where we can, cover the team and like regular teams. I wanted to see what's the difference between what people is printing and what people is seeing.
Facts.
And in the days that I've been here, it has been stark. It has been crazy. And what you realize is people don't even know what they're looking at. So I see why the narrative is different from what you see on the football field, because if you don't understand what you're actually even looking at, you're just going off of just ignorance. And I'm looking and I'm watching some of the stuff that people is talking about. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Cadences and what are you talking like? What are we talking about here? I had people talk about, oh, that throw wasn't good. And the most part that I got a problem with is this. If Deshaun Watson has a good throw or a good practice, I can say, oh, he had a good practice. You can go on Final Cut. Me and Earl talked about it. Me, Earl Tyvis, Coach Riz, we talked about it. The day before, I put out a tweet that Dylan Gabriel did pretty good in the period. Awesome. I don't understand how I can sit here and give Deshaun Watson and Dylan Gabriel credit where credit is due. But the first time Shedeur Sanders does anything well, it's either outright ignored, people move into this weird trolling stuff where it's like, they can't defend their position, or if he does anything, they just outright ignore it like it never happened.
Man, now you heard what GBush said, man. He totally erupted, man. He's totally, pissed off because of the situation and what's going on with this Cleveland media and the media in general when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. Double standard. And we'll get to one point of what he said about cadences. Now, y'all's man, Tony Grossi, he has a dislike for Shedeur Sanders. And it's obvious that he doesn't care for Shedeur Sanders. He'll make up the outlandish things anytime he reports. Because Deshaun Watson, yesterday, they gave him 7 touchdowns. Everything was in the red zone. 10 yards and in. That's where he got his 7 touchdowns. Nothing was long down the field, stretching the field. Everything was red zone opportunity, 7-on-7. And Tony Grossi never came out and reported that, oh, it was all from the short game. He was just impressed from everything that Deshaun Watson did. But we go back 2 days ago when Shedeur Sanders was lighting it up. 21 of 24. Only missed 3 passes. First thing that Tony Grossi did was say it was all short game. It was all getting the ball out quick. But Todd Monken had already explained that they was working on the short game. They was working on getting the ball out quick. Because if you look at the way they was getting the ball out quick, that coincides with getting the run game established. But Tony Grossi didn't say anything about that. All the things that he said was negative. But Shedeur Sanders was still 21 of 24. So when GBush referenced cadences, this is the issue that GBush has. This is what Tony Grossi reported yesterday. Tony Grossi said Todd Monken had one period designed to test quarterbacks' cadence. Big issue with him. Watson was able to draw defenses offside twice. Sanders couldn't do it. Monken insists you can't have an elite offense without elite cadence. Ability to use up to 10 different cadences. Now our man Daniel Ofusi was out on site. And this is how he debunked everything that Todd Monken said. This is how Daniel Ofusi followed up with his statement. He said Browns quarterbacks and the offensive line are getting increasingly comfortable with the multiple of cadences Todd Monken is installing. Both Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders have been able to draw the defense offsides today. Let me read that again. Both Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders have been able to draw the defense offsides today. This is what irritates GBush the most. Lies like that have become watered down and saturated. And I've called it out many times myself. And this is the problem that we have with the Cleveland insiders and the Cleveland media wanting anybody but Shedeur Sanders. And it's becoming obvious of the narrative that they're pushing. And I've always said this dates back to last year when we was talking about Jason Lloyd, about the things that he said that he's heard around, Brown's facility about Shedeur Sanders. Won't you go out there and see from your own lenses? Don't trust on what somebody else says. And like GBush says, they just put anything down on paper just to get a rise. Once again, GBush has eviscerated Cleveland media and these insiders and taken a shot at people he works with. Y'all do me a favor, man. Get down in the comment section.
I see everyone in the comment section, #salute. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your post notifications so you will know every time I drop a hot banger. Oh yeah, just in case I forgot, tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. And that will wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Catch you on the next one. Deuces.